Right, before going to area of implementation, let's go and develop a couple of APIs for file upload. Let me create a model called student file, student file entity. Right, student, stop the server. Student file entity. I will name annotate this with at entity and at table, and name this table with student file. Alright, student files actually it should be, yeah, right, student files. Alright, no problem. Let's keep it as student, and then let's go and copy these fields. This is student ID. The primary key will be different for this, so let's name it as student ID, and then add a primary key called student file ID and test ID. Right, now let's remove this. Let's make it as file name, and let's add the more column, make it as byte array, and then file, right, and then let's annotate it with at log, and let's ignore this when the user tries to get all these files. Okay, now let's make this file. Now let's add control getters and setters. Here getters, yes, getters and setters. Okay, now we got student file object here, and let's add the repository. Let's just copy and paste this student file repo, student file. Alright, so in this student file, let's get by let's do by find by student ID and ID. Alright, string, sorry, integer student ID comma integer ID, find by student ID and ID. Alright, so this should be list of student files. Now we will go back. Oh, what did I change? What repo did I change? Oh shit. Okay, let's create. There is the created repo. The created repo is here. Let's change it here, and let's name it as student file. Then we go to controller, and yeah, let's go to controller first directly, and then here I'll add some mappings here. Let's add a post mapping here. Post mapping. So for which user are we trying to add the file for? We are trying to add the file for file for user. Okay, let's make it as put. Let's make it as put. File for user ID, and then files, right, and then create a public method, public response entity upload file. Here we accept request. First we accept the ID, same as here, and then we accept request param or file in the request param. Right? So we will have multipart file, file. Then we will call similarly return method here, return upload, and then in this upload we will add file and ID. Okay, so let's create this method here. We created this method. Now let's go to service IAM here and add this method also. That's it. Now we create a new student file object, student file object as file dot set student ID to ID, and then as file dot set, speak it as student ID, that you guys don't confuse it, student ID, and then we set file here, so we get file dot get bytes, right, and then what's the error? Throw. Yeah, we need to throw. Let's use try catch instead, right, and then throw this custom exception. We get internal server error. Instead of everything like this, we just put e dot get. Okay, we just put something went wrong while uploading file. and then we return response entity dot created, accepted, accepted, dot build, right? And then we use the repo student file repo. Let's auto wire student file repo, right? And then we save the object here, dot save as file, right? Let's return something here. This, since we are adding the data here as file, so let's return the file itself, and then file id, and file id dot get id. And then here we forgot to do one more thing. We need to set as file dot set file name, that is file dot get original file name, right? We wrote our upload method. Now also let's also write the download method. So for download, let's add the same get mapping. So first let's add get mapping for list of files. So find all files, then it has find all files, and here it accepts the user id, student id, right? student id, and then find all files, student id. Then similarly we write one more method, find by, change these also to student id, right? Let's make this as file id, find file by id, right? And then let's add one more path variable here, that would be file id, student id comma file id. This methods find file by id. Now let's create both of these methods. These methods this will return list of student file objects, right? And this will return just a student, no, this won't return student file. I'll tell you what it returns. And then here it returns an integer, right? So now let's go to service IAMP. Change the return type of this, and just create these two methods first. Let's change this to integers, and then let's create those two methods for getting files and unimplemented methods. Now we have this here. So this is very simple. We just return student file repo, response entity dot okay in the body we put find all, right? And then we do the same thing here, and what we do, find by student id and file id, right? So here we directly return student file, checked. Let's change the return type in student service, student file repo, let's make it to 1. Let's go back to controller. Everything is set up now, and we just don't return the file. Okay, we return in different formats. So let's say I want the file type to be okay. So here we return, instead of this student type, we'll just return, let's make it like this, return response entity dot okay, right? Response entity dot okay. So and okay, and then we add headers, and in headers we add http headers. No, not java.net headers, so that we need Spring http headers, dot, we set the type as content disposition, okay, and then we add the value here, the value content disposition accepts values like inline attachment. So let's add attachment, right? So let's add attachment colon file name, all small file name equals slash plus. So we got, let's add student file object here, file student file dot get file name. Alright, now get file name plus slash, and then now finally body. So in the body we just try to get the file dot get file. Alright, so let's just remove this. We change method return type to student. Alright, and then we change the return type in here also, and in controller also we change the return type to byte array. Right, now let's start our application. Where do we have it? We have an error here. Okay. Missing semicolon. Let's start our Spring Boot application. Now we have 3 APIs. Alright, we have 3 APIs for file upload. We'll see all these 3 APIs. Now we go to Postman again. We need to add some user, right? We need to add one user. Let's add power user. His ID we got 1. Now we will try uploading a file. So student1, and then we make put, and then we add files here. Then here in the body we can go to form data, and then we select file. What was the request param here? See the request param. And for request param was multipart file. Alright, so we can name the name here. Alright, name like this file. Doesn't matter, by default we take this one. Let's restart. It's not required. Alright, it's not required. So let's again add this user, first user, and then we go back, then add file, and then select file here, and then let's select a file from desktop. I have 2 files here, dummy text. Let me add dummy text, then let me try to send. So what did we get? So we got the file ID here, and we got response as 202. Let's try to add one more file here. Let's try to add PDF also. Right, so I will add one more file, PDF, for this user 1. So we got second file also uploaded with ID 2. Now let's save this to the collection. I will try to fetch all the files. Okay, I'll just select here the 4 files it was put, and here I'm doing the get request. Let's save this first, and then click on send. So we got 2 files here. One was dummy text, dummy PDF. Okay, for both have student ID 1. Now let me try to get individual file by putting an ID here for first. Okay, now let me try. See, this is the text file. You can see that my text file had a data like this, and then we try with PDF. PDF also, the PDF is the same version of that. So let me try. You will probably get the data in byte array. So if I try to fetch the second file, that is PDF. See, yeah, you got the PDF data here. This is byte array data. Right? So you can convert this to base64, or you can set the content type directly in the header to application PDF. So you can directly get it as get this as PDF in here. So we got everything. Now the file upload and download is working. Right? Now let's in the next video let's talk about ATOs.